So, anybody wants to read the sloka? Devi Esha Gunamayi. You can repeat after me. Devi Esha Gunamayi.
देवी
देवीशा
एषा
गुणमयी
गुणमयी
Mama Maya Duratyaya.
मम माया
मम माया
दुरत्यया
दुरतया
Mameva Ye Prapadyante.
मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते
प्रपद्यन्ते
Maya Medam Tarantite.
मायामेतां
मायामेव
तरन्ति ते
तरन्ति
Devi Esha Gunamayi.
देवी एषा
देवीशा
गुणमयी
Mama Maya Duratyaya.
मम
मम
माया
माया दुरत्यया
Mameva Ye Prapadyante.
मामेव
मामेय
ये
प्रपद्यन्ते
Maya Medam Tarantite.
मायामेतां
मायामेव
तरन्ति ते
तरन्ति
Devi Esha Gunamayi.
देवी
देवीशा
एषा
गुणमयी
गुणमयी
Mama Maya Duratyaya.
मम
मम
माया
माया
दुरतया
दुरत्यया
Mameva Ye Prapadyante.
मामेव
मामेव
ये प्रपद्यन्ते
Maya Medam Tarantite.
मायामेतां तरन्ति ते
Okay. So, somebody can read the translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I will read Prabhuji. Translation. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, then you can continue. Purport.
Okay, Prabhuji. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable energies, and all these energies are divine. Although the living entities are part of of his energies and are therefore divine. Due to contact with material energy, their original superior power is covered. Being thus covered by material energy, one cannot possibly overcome its influence. As previously stated, both the material and spiritual natures being emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead are eternal. The living entities belong to the eternal superior nature of, but due to contamination by the inferior nature matter, their illusion is also eternal. The conditioned soul is therefore called Aitya Nityabadi or eternally conditions. Nitya
Nityabadha.
or eternally conditioned. No one can trace out the history of his becoming conditioned at a certain date in material history. Consequently, his release from the clutches of material nature is very difficult, even though that material nature is an inferior energy, because material energy is ultimately conducted by the supreme will, which the living entity cannot overcome. Inferior nature is defined herein as divine nature due to its divine connection and movement by the divine will. Being conducted in divine will, material nature, although inferior, acts so wonderfully in the construction and destruction of the cosmic manifestations. The Vedas confirm this as follows. Mayam to prakritim vidyan mayinati to maheshwaram. Although Maya illusion is false or temporary, the background of Maya is the supreme magician, the personality of Godhead, who is Maheshwara, the supreme controller. Shvetashwara Upanishad 1.10. Another meaning of guna is rope. It is to be understood that the conditioned soul is tightly tied to the rope of
One second, Prabhuji. I'll just scroll up. Yeah.
yeah. Yes, Prabhuji, I'll read. Tied to by the ropes of illusion. A man bound by the hands and feet cannot free himself. He must be helped by a person unbound because the bound cannot help the bound. The rescuer must be liberated. Therefore, only Lord Krishna or the bona fide representative, the spiritual master, can release the conditioned soul. Without such superior help, one cannot be freed from the bondage of material nature. Devotional service or Krishna consciousness can help one gain such release. Krishna, being the Lord of the illusory energy, can order the unsurmountable energy to release the conditioned soul. He orders this release out of his causeless mercy on the surrendered soul and out of the paternal affection for the living entity who is originally a beloved son of the Lord. Therefore, surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is the only means to get free from the clutches of the stringent material nature. The words Mam Eva are also significant. Mam means unto Krishna, Vishnu only, and no Brahma or Shiva, although Brahma and Shiva are greatly elevated and are almost on the level of Vishnu. It is not possible for such incarnation of Rajoguna passion, and Tamoguna ignorance to release the conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. In other words, Lord Brahma and Shiva are also under the influence of Maya. Only Vishnu is the master of Maya. Therefore, he alone can give release to the conditioned soul. The Vedas, Shvetasvara Upanishad 1.8 confirms this. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
You're not able to see?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm able to see Prabhuji.
3.8.
Confirm this. Yeah. In the phrase Tam Iva with this one, it's very small Prabhuji. Font little you can zoom.
Okay. You are using a mobile?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm using mobile.
Just a moment.
My net is not working today. Wi-Fi is not working.
Okay.
Sorry, Prabhuji. I will be able to read. Little more is there. I will be able to read.
Now is
Okay.
it better?
Yes, Prabhuji. Now it's better. I can see. Yeah. Confirm the Vedas, Shvetasvara Upanishad 3.8 confirms this in the phrase Tam Eva Viditva, or freedom is possible only by understanding Krishna. Even Lord Shiva affirmed that liberation can be achieved only by the mercy of Vishnu. Lord Shiva says, Mukti Pradata Sarvesham Visha Evam Na Samshayam. Samshayam. There is no doubt that Vishnu is the deliverer of liberation for everyone. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you very much, Bharati Mataji. Yep. So, today actually today's topic is about how to cross over the three modes, right? So in the previous session, I think we have seen the three modes of material nature, right? And also we found that it's very difficult to overcome, right? So here actually today's session, it is explained how can we overcome or how can we cross over the three modes of material nature. So I would like request devotees to please make points, and we can note down and discuss these points. Okay. So the translation. Somebody explain the translation what it means?
Prabhuji, one point I'll give.
Yes.
Yeah, see, out of the uh, Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the energies that are available around here are all coming from the Lord itself. Now,
Mhm.
we are one part of the energy which is actually divine, which is spiritual, and which is, the original power, which is divine. But
Mhm.
because we are in this material world, and
Mhm.
because of our connection to all these material, what should I say, attractions, our superior energy, which is our original energy, gets covered, gets contaminated by this Maya and other energies, and they
Mhm.
become inferior. So actually, by nature, because we are a part and parcel of the Lord, who is supreme, we are also supreme. But because of our constant contact with the Maya, the supreme energy becomes inferior energy, and we are eternally conditioned. That is Nitya Bhada. That is, we are eternally conditioned. That's
Mhm.
one point, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji. Very nice. Okay, so as we discussed last time, right? So we will make the points and we will discuss. Come back to them in in later in more detail. Okay, so this point was made. We will discuss this a little more. Chitra Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
This is one point. So you can all of you can give more points. Okay, so what you can do is that you can just summarize the point maybe in one line, and we will discuss in more detail. So that I'll whatever points you mentioned, I will just briefly take a note so that we can come back to those points later. Okay, so we don't have to explain in like detail now. We'll come back when we come back. At that time we'll explain and discuss. Okay, so is that fine, right, with everybody? So that's
Okay,
how
Prabhuji.
normally we should supposed to do. So this is Ramon just one point. Okay, so I would request all
Hare
devotees
Krishna
to
Prabhuji.
yes, Bharati Mataji.
I will give one point, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
So, mom means it is really Vishnu itself. It's
Mm-hmm.
not either Shiva or Brahma, even though they are also very great, but they are almost on the same level like Vishnu.
Mm-hmm.
But still, they are under the influence of the Maya. So they are also bound by Maya. So the real who can deliver us from all these material entanglements is Narayana or Vishnu itself. So that is one point, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji. Very nice point. So you can see the screen. I am noting the point. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So
Thank you.
is it correct? Everything is captured in this. So the details we'll discuss later, but we'll just put the main keywords so that we can expand and discuss later. Okay, this is a very important point actually. So mom in the particular shloka, mom evaye prabhadende is mentioned, right? So in that mom actually is Vishnu or Krishna, and then so by surrendering to other gods, we may not get the same result, right? So that's the point. And then also here actually, anybody else? So here one small point is also mentioned in that only whatever you mentioned. Lord Shiva saying that only Vishnu can give liberation, right? That is also there, na Bharati Mataji? The next line.
Yes, Prabhuji, it is there. It is there.
Okay, very nice. Well, so all devotees, please add some points so that no, we can all discuss. There are a lot of points actually in today's topic.
Prabhuji, the
Hmm.
the three modes of material nature are compared to the three ropes which are
Hmm.
twisted and intertwined and become more and more intertwined in this material world.
Hmm.
So we are bound by that rope,
Hmm.
and when we are bound by that rope, all of us are bound by the rope in this material world. So
Hmm.
one bound person cannot untie another one. So
Hmm.
for this, we need a superior help. Superior master only can release us the conditioned soul from this binding in which we are tied up. Otherwise, we cannot be freed from the bondage of material nature. So
Yes.
we have to depend on Krishna for this, Prabhuji. A superior energy only can unbind us from this illusionary uh, energy.
Okay. Yeah. So here you have to be careful when you say superior energy, no? So that actually is little. When you say energy means you don't accept the Lord's form.
No, no, Krishna,
Okay.
Prabhuji. Yes,
You have to be careful. Okay.
yes,
So that's
Prabhuji.
fine. No problem. So yeah, let's go on. So in the translations, somebody can give some point, like one very important point is there. No? So basically, the translation is what is expanded in the purport. So how to cross over the three modes is mentioned in the purport, right? In the translation. So can somebody say what is the how can we overcome the three modes of material nature?
Yeah, absolute surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead will help us to cross this Maya Shakti.
Yeah, surrender.
Yeah, surrender. Yeah.
Okay, let me put that point. Okay, let's go on. So what are the points are there? Okay, so please add points. Chetan Prabhu has left. Huh? Hare Krishna Chetan Prabhu. Chetan Prabhu, you're not able to hear.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I think
Yeah,
some I cannot able to see the screen Prabhuji.
is it okay?
That's why
No problem. So you're outside, Prabhu?
no Prabhuji. I came inside Prabhuji. That time I was outside, but now I came inside.
Okay. You so now you're able to see the screen.
No Prabhuji. I tried multiple times Prabhuji. I'm
Some
not
problem
able
is
to.
there. Okay, but others are able to
Yes,
see, no?
same with me.
Hmm?
Same with Prabhuji. I'm not able to.
Niveda Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Blank only, blank. To the empties.
Okay. What about others? Sushil Prabhu,
Yeah,
you're
that.
able to.
Yeah, sometime back I was seeing the notes that you are writing, right, in Notepad.
Yeah. Now you can see a PDF, right?
Yeah, it is rendering. Yeah, it is. I can see now. Yeah.
I don't know why. Any idea why some people are not able to see? Maybe network issue is there, or
Yeah, it is visible now only. Just before
no? I think they are
some.
not able to see. So Niveda Mataji and Chetan Prabhu are not able to see. It seems. Now is it visible, Niveda Mataji?
Prabhuji.
Krishna?
No, Prabhuji, I'm not able to see anything.
I don't know because I think actually it is shared properly, Maybe I can
Yeah.
unshare and share again. Maybe we'll try once, but I'm not sure it'll help or not. Is it visible now?
Prabhuji.
It's visible, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
Prabhuji.
think the two people are. I mean, Nivedita Mataji and Chetan Prabhu are not able to see. Uh,
Now it is
Che-
visible, Prabhuji.
okay, Chetan Prabhu, you're able to see.
No, Prabhuji. Still no.
Mm. Okay, no problem. So if you're able to remember something from what we read, no, you can make the points. Okay, because there's no other way, you know.
Prabhuji,
Like, yes,
Prabhuji, they
Mataji.
can open the Bhagavad Gita book and do the 7.14, Prabhuji. Is there in the Bhagavad Gita book? All of us have got Bhagavad Gita book, no, Prabhuji?
Yeah, and you can try that actually if you are able to open Bhagavad Gita. So this is coming from that only.
7.14, 7.14.
And also, I think this document is also shared. I think na, last week I had shared. So in the chat, you can see if you can open it also. Chetan Prabhu and Nivedita Mataji, you can go to the chat,
Yes, Prabhuji.
and I think we have shared it, no? Like few weeks back, you can search.
Yeah. I can download that. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So meanwhile, we'll go ahead. So you can come back, no? Nivedita Mataji and Chetan Prabhu, you can read and come back and with the points. So we'll just meanwhile we'll go on. Okay. So what are the points in this paragraph? Wh- Why material energy is difficult to overcome, even though it is inferior? I'll note that point actually. I'll ask the question. Okay. What
Material
else?
Because
material energy is
powerful.
ultimate is conducted by the supreme will only. Means
Yeah.
only if the supreme personality of Godhead has will to escape us from this, then only it can happen. So I think to if we satisfy supreme personality of Godhead, then he will get the will. I mean, he
Correct.
can approve us to.
We'll come to that. No, right now we won't discuss, bro. Like I'll just note
Mhm,
down. We'll come
mhm.
to the all these points afterwards. Okay, one by one.
Okay, sure, sure.
Okay. So we'll just make the points so that we get to know. We'll collect all the points and then we'll discuss one by one. Okay. Thanks anyway. So you can just note, hold on that answer, and then we'll discuss.
Mhm.
Mm, okay. So what else? In the next paragraph? What are the points? So one part actually is already described. I mean, is already noted, right? One who is bound cannot free. That I think Chitramadaji has made that point. Uh, mm, so what is the solution? Like, please, you can come up with a point. I don't want to say.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
uh, Krishna,
Mm,
uh, out of paternal love for
yes.
his devotees who have
Krishna. Not able to hear Mataji. Devotees, am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, I think Bharati Mataji is not audible. I think.
The importance of spiritual master in the process of liberation. I think that point we can.
Okay, nice. Bharati Mataji, Hare Krishna Bharati Mataji, we are not able to hear you. We can try joining again. Yeah, so other devotees you can add. We'll wait for her to come back. What is the point she was making? Okay, anyway, let us come back. Any other points, devotees, beside this? So, how can we release? What is the process of getting released from the bondage? This question I'll ask. It is mentioned here. You can see, no? Somewhere it is bondage.
Surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord.
Yes. So before that, yeah, devotional service or Krishna consciousness can help one gain such a release. Is mentioned here. You can see that. No? Okay. Any other points of the devotees? Okay, so there are some good discovery, understanding. Mm, what mom? Okay. What are the different energies of the Lord? We'll discuss that as part of the discussion. We'll cover. So now we'll go come to the points one by one. So first, Chitra Mataji, you have made this point. No, we are part of the spiritual energy because connection with material energy, original energy is covered. Nityabadha, right? So this is the point you made. So I think we'll discuss this point in detail. So maybe Chitra Mataji, first you can explain according to understanding in a little
Yeah.
more detail.
Yeah, Prabhuji, all the energies that are there come from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, material energy and all these three sattva, tamo, and whatever it is, they all come from the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Mm-hmm.
But because we are covered by this, though originally we are spiritual by nature, all of us are spiritual by nature, because coming into this material world, this spiritual nature gets contaminated by the inferior material energy. That is, all these things that are going on around us, and we tend to forget the Lord. So,
Mm-hmm.
we are under a false illusion, that, we forget that we are a part and parcel of the Lord. And so we are, because we are stuck in this inferior nature, bound to the inferior nature, we are called eternally conditioned. We cannot do anything about it till we surrender to Krishna. Because to get the release from the clutches of material nature is very, very difficult, because ultimately material nature is also an energy of Krishna, who is all powerful. So it's very, very difficult, to get out of this inferior, this material energy, because it is conducted by the supreme will of the Lord. So the first paragraph says that, Prabhuji, because though this Maya is temporary, the one behind this Maya, the energy behind this Maya, is the superior energy of the Lord. So it's very, very strong. That's why it's
Yes.
very, very difficult to get out of the material attraction.
Yeah.
That
So
is,
this is the answer to the point five you are answering now.
yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Good. Fine. Thanks, Mataji. So I would like to hear from other devotees also on this point. What do you think now? Uh, so what the question is that though it is not explained here, but we have to understand. No, actually there are fundamentally two type of energies, right? One is the spiritual energy and material energy, right? These are the two energies. But there is also a third energy. No, anybody knows what is the third energy? The three primary energies of the Lord.
Marginal energy, Prabhuji.
Yes. So that we have discussed, no? So one is the external energy, internal energy. What is the other name of internal energy? There are different names by which internal energy of the Lord is known. Anybody remember? Internal energy is also known as spiritual energy. It is known as Antaranga Shakti, right? And it's actually the presiding deity of internal energy. Who is the presiding deity of internal energy? Who is the Lord? Anybody knows?
Radharani.
Radharani, yeah.
Yeah. So everything is expansion of Radharani. So it's basically, yeah, technically speaking, internal energy is presided by Yoga Maya, right? So there are two Maya, Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. So Yoga Maya is represented by Subhadramai, right? We have Baldev, Jagannath, and Subhadra, right? So Subhadra is actually an expansion of energy of Radharani only. That way it is correct. But generally, directly, if you ask, there are two energies. One is the internal energy is represented by Yoga Maya, and what is external energy represented by?
Maya, no, Prabhuji.
Yes, Yogamaya and Mahamaya. So Maya is also called Mahamaya, right? So internal energy is called Yogamaya and external energy is called Mahamaya. And Mahamaya, who is the presiding deity of Mahamaya?
Durga Devi.
Ye-
Namaste.
Yes, Mataji. Durga. Durga is the presiding deity of external Mahamaya, right? So we have to understand that clearly. No, so internal energy, Yogamaya. Oh, so what is the role of Yogamaya potency? Is to cover. So both this Maya, right? Both of them cover as a covering potency. Okay, so the covering potency. So what does Mahamaya cover? Mahamaya covers the original intelligence of the living entity, right? Original identity of the living entity is covered. No, the living entity thinks that he is the body, right? He forgets that he is a soul, and he also forgets his connection with the Supreme Lord, right? So this is the work of Mahamaya. The Mahamaya is designed in that way. So when the living entity comes to the material world, as Chitramaji explained, right? So his original consciousness is covered and it becomes contaminated, and the living entity forgets his identity. He thinks that he is the body. So this is the potency of Mahamaya. And Yoga Maya has also a covering potency. Anybody knows what is the potency of the Yoga Maya? What is it? What does Yoga Maya does? Anybody knows? I think we have discussed in some other sessions. Anybody wants to try? Okay. So see, Yoga Maya's uh, nature or duty, is to cover. Basically, it creates the situation for the Lord to perform his pastime. Okay, that is one thing, and also to increase the mellow of the pastime. So what does Yogamaya does is that the Yogamaya will cover. So when the Lord comes to the material world or even the spiritual world also, right? When the Lord is constantly performing various pastimes. For example, Lord's parents are there, like Nanda Maharaj and Yashodamai, right? So Yogamaya will cover their knowledge in such a way that they think that Krishna is their son. When Krishna is actually the son, but they only think that Krishna is just a child, like that. No, because if they think that the Krishna is supreme personality of Godhead, then actually they that Vatsalya Bhav cannot completely be manifested. Cannot be, they cannot fully enjoy that mellow. So because of that, the Yogamaya potency will cover this particular knowledge from his parents, from his friends, no, from everybody, all whoever is involved in the pastime. So this is the Yogamaya potency. Okay. So anyway, that is not today's discussion. So we have to understand that there is internal energy, Yogamaya, external energy, Mahamaya, and then there's third energy called marginal energy, which is called Tadastha Shakti, right? So the living entities belong to which category?
Marginal.
Yes. So this marginal condition is a temporary condition. No, as you mentioned, Mataji. So actually, the living entity is a spiritual energy. It's the internal energy of the Lord. But when the living entity comes to the material world, he becomes that energy becomes marginalized. No, and then he becomes then it is known as marginal energy or Tadasa Shakti. That's a temporary situation that we have discussed many times, right? Just like a shore. Tada means shore. No, the shore is sometimes under the influence of land and sometimes under the influence of the water, right? So like that, sometimes it is under the influence of Yoga Maya or the internal energy, and sometimes he's under the influence of Mahamaya. So when the living entity takes shelter of the Supreme Lord, then actually he again regains his spiritual potency. That is a discussion point. Okay. Uh, so why it is known as why living entity is called eternally bound? What is the significance of calling him eternally bound? What does it mean? Nitya Baddha. What does it mean? Anybody knows? You can just try. Don't have to hesitate.
Prabhuji, maybe because till he surrenders himself, he is always conditioned.
Yes. Prabhupada also, if you read the purport or the part which we read, now it is actually mentioned why it is so. Because Prabhupada is saying that nobody can trace the history, right? When we have come to the material world, it is very difficult to say. It is almost like eternally we are in the material world, right? Because the time frame is very long, right? That is why we are known as eternally conditioned souls. Somewhere I don't remember actually. Somewhere it is mentioned, right? You remember? No, nobody can trace history. Here it is. No one can trace out the history of his becoming condition at a certain date in the material history. Consequently, his release from the clutches of material nature is very difficult. Because we are conditioned by so many births, right? So many lifetimes actually, we are used to this material nature. So that is why we are not as eternally conditioned. Okay. Now, next point, we'll go to the next point. So Bharati Mataji mentioned, so this last part of the discussion, and that is mentioned. So basically, what is the shloka? Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durataya Mam Eva Ye Prabhadyante Maya Medam Tarantide. By surrendering unto me, you can overcome material energy, though it is very powerful. Uh, so the mom actually is explicitly mentioned. So Bharati Mataji, you are able to speak?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, tell me Prabhuji. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
Prabhuji.
This point you can explain, Mataji. You can see the screen. I'll read what you mentioned. You
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah, I
that.
can see
Yeah. Okay.
Prabhuji.
Okay.
You have written Krishna, not Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. They are not able to liberate us because they are also under the influence of Maya only.
Hmm.
So sometimes Shiva is also told to take shelter of Lord Vishnu, Krishna, to get liberated, to get moksha. Means moksha prada means he is Vishnu only.
Yes. So what is there is more information, like anybody wants to add more points. So it is explained in more detail why Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva cannot, you know, by surrendering Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva, why can't we get liberated? Somebody can explain that point?
Prabhuji, because both are under the influence of Maya, no? So we need a superior,
Yes.
superior, what shall I say, energy or a supreme personality of Godhead to remove
Mm,
us from this Maya. Because
correct.
they themselves are in Maya. So someone who is not in this Maya, under the influence of Maya, can help us, and that is only
Yes.
the Lord. Rest are
Okay.
all under the influence of Maya.
Correct. So can somebody give some example, no, of a situation where, like say, Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva was under the influence of Maya? Any past time or anything? Anybody knows?
Yeah, I remember one thing. When yeah, in the Krishna, when Krishna was roaming, I mean roaming with cowherd peoples.
Mm-hmm.
Brahma was under impression that why he's playing with these cowherd people,
Mm-hmm.
and he has some egoistic that he was the only Brahma in the universe, and then Krishna played a pastime that he manifested the similar cowherd peoples again,
Mm.
and realized Brahma that he is not the only Brahma. Something I am not able to connect the dots, but some
Yeah, bro.
something like
Yeah, no, we have to talk, bro. Like, no, we'll get used to. When we talk more, no, then we'll become more comfortable. It's very
that.
important, actually. Whatever we know, it's okay. Yes, bro. So you were mentioning about the Brahma Vimohana Leela, right? This pastime is called Brahma Vimohana Leela, where
Mhm.
Lord Brahma was bewildered, no, by the Lord's energy. Okay. So anybody else want to add some other, like some examples? Lord Shiva's pastime, where Lord Shiva was also bewildered.
Prabhuji, Lord Shiva will give boon to this Bhasmasura, one demon,
Mm-hmm.
and he will go to test Shiva only on
Mm-hmm.
getting the boon. He wants to test it on Shiva itself.
Mm-hmm.
Then lastly, Shiva will go and take shelter of Lord Vishnu, and Vishnu will come in a form of Mohini, and he will then he will kill that Bhasmasura. Means he will touch his head and he
Yeah.
will become ash. So that also is a pastime of Shiva where he takes shelter of Vishnu to help him. So
Mm.
many times Shiva has taken shelter of Vishnu. Because
Okay.
of his own boons, he would have given boons to the demons, and he would have caught in that. He himself would have come into the influence of that boons.
Mm-hmm.
Then ultimately, Lord Vishnu will go and save Shiva also many times.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Good. Anybody else? Okay. So Lord Brahma is representing which mode? Anybody knows? It's mentioned here. Three, Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. So Lord Brahma is the presiding deity for which of the gunas?
Rajoguna, Prabhuji.
Yes. And Lord Shiva?
Tamoguna.
Yes. So there is one very important pastime actually. I think you may be knowing. I don't know whether you know about it or not. So actually, these pastimes which you mentioned, right, which people mentioned, are also, definitely had happened. So here actually it may be little difficult to say. For example, Brahma Vimohan Leela, it may be very little difficult to say whether it is because of Yoga Maya that Brahma got bewildered or not. But definitely Brahma was bewildered actually. So there is another pastime of Lord Brahma when actually when Brahma is known as the Prajapati, right? He's the first progenitor. No, when in the initially in the material world only Lord Brahma was there, and all other living entities were created by Brahma only. Okay, so when so there is a pastime where actually when Brahma Goddess Saraswati was born. Actually, Brahma, no, Saraswati is a daughter actually, but Brahma become bewildered by her beauty, and no, he will run after Saraswati, for he want to enjoy her. So here actually, Brahma is completely coming under the influence of the modes of material nature. This is one pastime. Then similarly, Lord Shiva's pastime also, I think you most of you know about that. When Mohini appeared, right? When Lord Shiva will request Vishnu to show the form of Mohini later. And when he sees the form of Mohini, Shiva will become bewildered, like, you know, and Shiva will start running after Mohini in the desire to enjoy her. So here actually these are two pastimes, were actually which is generally quoted to understand that even they can also become bewildered under the power of Maya. So the Maya illusion energy is so much bewildering, right? So these are the two examples. Okay. So
Prabhuji can tell that Hiranyakashipu is like when he asked for boon for Brahma for becoming immortal,
mhm,
he tells no, it is not in my hand.
yeah,
Like
yes. So that is actually also an example. So Brahma will say, I myself is not immortal, right? We have seen that
yeah.
Brahma has a particular designated lifetime, after which actually, Brahma will another new soul will become Brahma. Okay, so that all from that also we can understand the position of Brahmaji, right? But nevertheless, we should never disrespect demigods. Especially all demigods actually has to be respected, because what is our position? We are completely insignificant compared to all these demigods. No, they are all very very exalted living entities, jivas. They are all also very dear to the Supreme Lord, and many of them are devotees of the Lord, right? So they are unless until you have performed so many austerities of so many hundreds of lifetime, the Brahma's post cannot be achieved, right? So they are very very exalted souls. And Lord Shiva's position we have described many times. So Lord Shiva is not an ordinary jiva. Brahmaji compared to Lord Shiva, like Brahmaji is actually or other way, Lord Shiva is much superior to Brahmaji, because Lord Shiva is actually eternal, right? He doesn't have a lifespan like Brahma. No, he is already eternally existing, right? Though he is an expansion which is coming from Vishnu, like from Sankarshana, right? Actually, Lord Shiva's form is coming, but nevertheless, Shiva is an eternal soul, and he has an abode in the spiritual world, right? So Shiva's position is very. So it is mentioned in Brahma Samhita that there is no, like, Vishnu and Shiva are like almost same. Just like it is just like the example of milk and curd is given, right? When milk is transformed, it becomes curd, right? So like that, actually, Vishnu and Shiva are very very identical actually. So almost like similar position, right? But nevertheless, actually, Vishnu is superior, right? So we have seen that. So Sattva in the material world, the Sattva, who is the predominating deity of Sattva, is Lord Vishnu, right? And Rajoguna is Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva is Tamoguna. Okay. So doesn't mean that Lord Shiva is always under the no. Sometimes actually he comes under the influence of these modes. No, though he is actually the controlling deity of this Tamoguna, it doesn't mean that Lord Shiva is always under ignorance. That is a very wrong to think like that. He's always transcendental most of the time, but sometimes he may come under the influence. That's how we have to understand. Okay, so very important that we should never disrespect any of the any god, any demigods. Okay, because they are all. So for example, Lord Vishnu, it is mentioned that what is that actually? Vaishnavanam Ada Shambhu, right? So Lord Shiva is considered as the topmost devotee of Krishna. Okay, let's go on. Any questions or any more points somebody want to add to the second thing? Is it clear? And second point, Bharati Mataji mentioned this sloka is there actually, right? What is the sloka? That only Lord Vishnu can give liberation. Yes, Lord Shiva says, Mukti Pradada Sarvesham Vishnu Revana Samshaya. Lord Shiva himself is saying that, no, Lord Vishnu is only capable of giving liberation. Okay. So, yes, Chitra Mataji, so you made this point. Bound cannot unbind another bound, right? Only somebody who's superior can unbind. Would you like to explain it, Mataji, a little detail?
They showed, in one of the things that hands and legs are tied.
Mm-hmm.
Another person next to him, his hands and legs are also tied. They cannot help each other because
Mm-hmm.
both are bound. So you need some superior, like what should I say? Mm, you cannot be helped by another person who's also bound in this material nature, except by a spiritual master can release the conditioned soul. So it cannot be by another conditioned soul, but a one who is not in a conditioned mode. Only a spiritual master can help them, and that is Lord Krishna, Prabhuji. Devotional service or Krishna consciousness can help the release of this bond. Otherwise, you cannot unbind. One person cannot help another one.
Yes, Mataji, very nice. So you mentioned Krishna can unbind and spiritual master. So what is the difference between, like, are they same? Krishna and spiritual master is the same, or how do we understand? What is
No,
the
no, no.
position of spiritual master and what is
A
the
a spiritual master, above spiritual master comes Lord Krishna, Prabhuji. But
yes.
first we have to take the help of our spiritual master,
Mm.
who is directly from the who is sort of got all the information, everything from the Lord himself.
Mm.
So we have
Okay.
to take the help of our spiritual master
Yes.
to unbind us from this material world.
Mm. Right. Very nice. Yes. So this point, everybody understood, right? This is very, very important actually. So see, how do we understand who is a genuine spiritual master or who is a bona fide spiritual master?
Parampara Prabhuji.
Yes. Yes, Mataji. Parampara. So, one has to be in a disciplic succession, right? That is very important actually. There are other qualifications also. I think we will see that later. But if somebody wants, we can discuss. Otherwise, no, there is a separate topic will come. Like for example, there's in basic things, no. There's a shloka which says Vajo Vegam Manasa Krodha Vegam Jihva Vegam Utaropasta Vegam Edan Vegan Yovishayara Dhiran Sarvan Abhimam Pratyum Sashishyat. So basically, the qualification of spiritual master is that he is having he should be fully self-controlled actually. He should not be under the influence of the material modes, right? He should be above the material modes. So that is what actually a liberated person is always above the material modes. He transcendent, right? If somebody is under the influence of the material modes, who cannot control his urges, right? That's Vajo Vega, Manasakrodha Vega, I mean different urges of the body, mind, etc. Then actually he cannot become a successful spiritual if he cannot control. That is one thing. Then actually second thing is that he should always speak from the scriptures. He cannot concoct or manufacture anything by himself, right? Then he has to come in a disciplic parampara, no, an authorized disciplic succession. A parampara is very important actually. So these are some of the important qualifications. So such a liberated soul can only help no another conditioned soul to be liberated. Otherwise, it is not possible. So this is very, very important actually. So because we see no, because people in general doesn't have proper information. They we see there are so many gurus nowadays, right? I mean, in Prabhu's time also there were many people, and many of them are bogus also, right? So unless until we have the proper knowledge, it is very difficult to identify who is the right guru, right? So if the person himself is under the mode of three modes, then actually naturally he cannot liberate you. But he should be above the three modes. He should be self-realized. He should be self-controlled, etc., etc. So these are all very important actually to understand, right? Yeah. Any questions in this point? So Krishna, which are the two kind of two gurus? Krishna is also guru, right? So how is Krishna a guru? Anybody can explain?
Prabhuji, because he has preached Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, he is Jagat Guru.
Yes. That is right, Mataji. That is one of the ways. But Krishna is present as a guru in every living entity, right? In what form?
Paramatma, like Paramatma.
Yes, Mataji. So Krishna is Paramatma. See, in the form of Paramatma, Krishna is situated in every living entity, and this Paramatma is known as Chaitya Guru, right? The Guru which is situated in the heart of the living entity is known as Chaitya Guru. Okay, so
Okay,
uh,
Prabhuji. Chaitya Guru.
Chaitya Guru, yes. And anybody remembers the example of the two trees sitting on a tree? In we have discussed it in Shvetashvatra Upanishad. The example of two trees sitting on a two birds sitting on a
Two
tree is
birds,
explained, right?
Prabhuji.
Yeah, two birds
Two
sitting. So
birds,
what are
one bird is enjoying the fruit.
hmm, that? Which is that bird?
That is the living entity. Like
Yes,
it is a conditioned soul. Like
yes, Mataji.
and
Jivatma.
another bird is the Paramatma. He is just witnessing. He is just a witness. He is
Yes,
seeing. He is eagerly waiting for the conditioned soul to look at him, to see
yes,
him.
exactly. Very nice, Mataji. So this Jivatma and Paramatma, right? So the Paramatma is actually the Guru, Chaitya Guru. Okay, so if the living entity inquires or no, or is ready to listen to the Paramatma, Chaitya Guru, then actually the Chaitya Guru is ready to guide you, right? But generally, the living entity is always busy enjoying, and he doesn't have any time, or he doesn't ask, inquire actually about the absolute truth or this kind of spiritual knowledge. Okay, so but when the living entity becomes inquisitive or no, he is ready to listen, then the Chaitya Guru in the heart is always waiting for the living entity. Okay, and this Chaitya Guru is the one who actually guides you to the right Guru. When a living entity becomes sincere and he prays to the Paramatma, right, so the Lord, the heart, the Krishna which is situated as the Paramatma in the heart, he will guide you to the right Guru, right spiritual master, right? So there's a slogan, no? Brahmanda Brahmide Kono Bhagyavan Jiva, Guru Krishna Kripa Paye Bhakti Lata Abhish. So basically, it is like this that first the Chaitya Guru will guide you to the spiritual master, right? To the right spiritual master, and then the spiritual master will guide you to Krishna. So Krishna, in the form of Chaitya Guru, will first give you the Guru, right? The actual Guru, spiritual master, and this spiritual master will actually give you Krishna, like that. It's just like a cycle, right? So that we have to understand actually. So there are two Krishnas and two Gurus. Any questions on this? Okay, next, Sushil Prabhu, you mentioned that no, there is only one process to overcome the three modes, right? You would like to explain that?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, every single living entity uh, is in control with the three gunas.
Mhm.
So similar entities cannot escape or help.
Mm.
Uh, so that is the reason. Yeah, that's what I understand that we need some upper hand, which is not controlled by these three gunas, and that is uh, our Lord, Lord only, and and to connect to bridge between a Lord and these mundane living entities. I think that only spiritual master is the right person, uh,
Yes.
and yeah, and even to get the mercy, I mean, to get the spiritual master in one's life, I think only Lord's will is required.
Yes.
So without Lord's mercy, we cannot get spiritual master also. So yeah, that's what I understand with this.
Yes, Prabhu. So one question, Prabhu. So only by surrender to Krishna one can overcome the three modes, right? So how can Krishna uh, free you from the three modes? If you read the purport, I mean, you can find the answer. Actually, it is there. Because see, it is mentioned that the three modes are very difficult to overcome. No? Devi
Mhm.
Esha Gunamayi, Mama Maya Durate. I saying that it's very difficult to overcome. Mam eva pravadinte Maya Medantarantide. So
By surrendering and like doing devotional service to the Lord, Supreme Lord. It can overcome.
yes, Mamaji, that is a process actually. But why is it that no Krishna? Like, what is the process? How does it happen? What is Krishna's role in like releasing the living entity?
Yeah, actually, with the help of devotional service and Krishna consciousness, that will help us to gain this release. And as Krishna is a lord of illusionary energy, so he
Correct.
controls the illusion energy, and this illusion energy can, uh, yeah, the illusion energy will obey the laws of the Krishna, and Krishna may, uh, with Krishna's mercy, we can escape this through illusion energy.
Yes. Correct, no, bro. I'm just trying to find. Yeah, so this is the part actually. Krishna, being the lord of the illusion energy, can order the instrument energy to release the conditioned soul. He orders a release out of his costless mercy of the surrendered soul and out of his paternal affection for the living entity, who is the original will son of the Lord. So this is the point actually, no? This is the point. So because Krishna is actually, the material energy is energy actually. He is a boss, right? Or everything is coming from him. He is a controller of everything. So and we have seen that everything is by design. That the Lord has designed this material world in this way, so that living entity who want to enjoy separately, they are given an option that they can try to enjoy here. And then the rules of material nature is there. The three modes has been created. Everything is there. So everything, Lord is actually he's the director of everything, right? If you think like it is a movie, then he's the director everything, so he can decide the plot, right? So the design is such that when the living entity takes shelter of the supreme lord, because why he has come to the material world, because he want to enjoy, he did not want to surrender to the lord, right? He did not want to serve the lord. That's why he came here. Now again, when he want to go back to him or the spiritual world, again he has to come back to the original consciousness, right, where he is always serving the lord. So the process is also the same. So when the living entity takes shelter of the Supreme Lord, right, or is pure devotees, then actually Lord becomes merciful and he decides to release this living entity from the clutches, right? So then Maya, then only the Maya will release it. So the Maya is like a cobweb, no? The spider's web is there, right? It's like that. So and the Maya Dikshana Prakriti, right? The Maya is working under the direction of Supreme Lord. So only when the living entity surrenders to Krishna, then the Maya will release that particular living entity. Like it's just like some insect which is trapped in the web, right? Then the Maya is like a Maya jal, we say, na? It's like a net actually. In one way, if you look, it's like a net, very difficult to overcome actually. The more we try to escape, the more it will become entangled. That is how actually it is designed. So because Krishna is the director or the original source of everything, he can easily release the living entity, when he surrenders. So that is the understanding, correct understanding. Anybody wants to add more points to this particular thing? Is clear to everybody?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so now next is this. I think Chitramadi already explained. Maybe you can explain one more time. Even though the material energy is inferior, why is it difficult to overcome?
Though the material energy is inferior, it is controlled by the superior energy of the Lord. So it's very, very difficult
Yes.
to overcome. So by constantly, getting attached to the Lord or the supreme energy, a detachment from material energy starts. And a time will come when the material energies hold on you becomes less and less, and your attachment to Krishna becomes more and more. Eventually, God will come to our help and release us from the material world.
Yes, correct. So there is one analogy which is given. You can remember that, or anybody can tell that. One small energy, I mean, analogy is there about this particular point. About a magician. Something is mentioned about a magician. Where is it?
Yes, Prabhu, it's written here.
What is it? Can you read, Mataji?
Yeah, although Maya illusion is false or temporary, the background of Maya is the supreme magician, the
Hmm.
personality of Godhead, who is Maheshwara, the supreme controller.
Yes. So that is the reason actually. So though the energy might be inferior, the material energy is considered as inferior. So living entity is spiritual, right? Temporarily we are tadastha, but no, nevertheless we are spiritual, and the material energy is external energy of the Lord. No, it's inferior energy, which is consisting of all the material modes and etc. Right? So though spiritual energy is more powerful and superior, but actually the material energy is also by energy of the Lord, right? Both are energy of the Lord, and by the will of the Lord, by His design, actually it is powerful. In the material world, the material energy is very powerful. So that is why, no, though the spiritual and living entities are spiritual in nature, they are not able to overcome it in the material world, because it is by design, and the supreme Lord is actually, the source of it, or the external energy. Okay, so Bharati Mataji, you were trying to mention one point, right? When your audio was not audible. So you remember the point what it was?
No, Prabhuji, what I was telling, that time I lost connection.
Yeah, you can try to remember if possible. Like, we'll go on. You started mentioning something. I also forgot one word. I mean, I wanted to remember. Anybody remembers what Bharati Mataji started talking about here? Anyway, so not able to remember. We'll come back to that. If you are able to remember, you can tell Mataji. Otherwise, we'll go on.
Yes, Prabhuji, I will tell. If I remember, I'll tell.
Yes. So, Sushil Prabhu, importance of spiritual master for liberation.
Yeah, that's what I already told Prabhuji that to to escape this, we need a spiritual master, because both material and spiritual, uh, not this. Mm,
Yeah, I think it may be connected to this point, right? Bound cannot bind other unbound, right? Is it connected to that?
yeah. Uh,
So, does everybody agree that no, a spiritual master is necessary for becoming liberated? Or why can't we, by my own endeavor, only depending on Paramatma, can I become liberated? What do you devotees think?
Guidance is required, no, Prabhuji?
Mm. Yes. So, a spiritual master is absolute necessary.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Sushil Prabhu, what do you think?
yes, Prabhuji, I have a question actually. Maybe it is not related with this discussion, but in this age, actually, it is very difficult to yeah, absolutely. Spiritual master is required if we go through the history, but in current age, it is very difficult to identify the purity of the master. Uh, so so yeah, can you elaborate, Prabhuji, how means in this age of Kali, even if we don't have a spiritual master, and if we have if we chant uh, religiously, if we chant 16 rounds, 64 rounds, and we don't have a spiritual master, then is it possible to get the liberation? Because due to this contamination, it is and this Kali Yuga, I, I, I feel that it is very difficult to trust on any spiritual master. So just by reading books and we can, if I say that Prabhupada is my only spiritual master, uh, although he is not physically at the moment, but I would remember him in every day. I will read his books. I will follow his path. Then is it sufficient, or do we need a physical spiritual master as well?
Okay, so I would ask other devotees to answer, try to answer the Prabhu's question. Anybody want to try to answer the question? What do other devotees think?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, what is the question, Prabhuji?
Question is whether we need a spiritual master to become liberated, or a physical. Can we think somebody, like for example, Prabhupada as a spiritual master, and no, and by that process, can we become liberated by not taking diksha from another spiritual master?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can have.
Hmm?
Uh, I want to maybe like from my opinion, I want to say, Prabhuji, like uh, Paramatma is situated in everyone's heart, Prabhuji. So he knows everything. Means might be we are actually taught by uh, certain mind, Prabhuji. Means three layers, like mind, intelligence, and ankara. So we cannot able to hear the voices from the Paramatma. And so if you want to uh, make the Paramatma as your spiritual master, then it may work probably. If you don't want to go searching for the guru outside.
Okay. So Nivedana Mataji, what is your opinion?
Yes. Prabhuji, I think this is something like the yogis hankering for merging into Brahman, Jyoti,
Hmm.
because they don't want to serve things like,
Yes.
yeah, there's something like that, which we understood that it is not the final destination. Above the Brahma Jyoti, the Lord, Supreme Lord is situated where where we all come from there and we need to go there, that place, and we have to serve. We are, all living entity has to serve, and we have to serve Lord Supreme Lord rather than serving someone else.
Yes. Okay. So you're correct, Mataji. So basically, so there are multiple things here. See, the correct understanding according to our parampara and acharyas, right, is that uh, we need a person, okay, guru. It is so. The first question is that without whether no, without any guru at all, like only depending on Paramatma, it is not possible actually to become liberated. Because if you sincerely meditate on Paramatma and pray to the Lord, Paramatma, then the Paramatma will definitely bring a guru. If you look at all the past various scriptures, right, scriptural histories, we can always see that always actually somebody who's become successful always had a guru. For example, Prahlad, was a small boy, right? And actually Narad Muni appeared, because of his sincere desire. Narad Muni appeared and advised him, right? Similarly, Prahlad, Dhruv Maharaj, right? Everywhere actually in the history, even when Lord Krishna himself came, right, he accepted a spiritual master. So the Lord actually, by his example, he has always shown that a spiritual master is absolute necessity. Because see, the Paramatma, unless and until see, the Lord can do anything. If Krishna wants, actually, he can give all the instruction to somebody personally, as Paramatma. But generally, that is not how it is. Things are designed in this material world. The Lord actually has given the scriptures. Have different method. We have the Sambandha, Abhidaya, and Prayojana. These are the three important things, right? Sambandha, Abhidaya, and Prayojana. Sambandha is a relationship between the living entity and the Supreme Lord, right? Prayojana is ultimate benefit actually that we are going to get, and Abhidha is the process. The devotional service, the process of how to become liberated actually is given, right? So meditating on the Paramatma is actually one of the processes actually, right? So why it is important to, so as Nivedha Mataji mentioned, right? If you meditate on the Paramatma, generally what happen, no, even if you people who are meditating, if you see somebody may go to Himalaya or some other place, but wherever they also they ultimately without accepting a guru in person, right? It is difficult to become successful. One important thing is actually, is that Prabhupada actually this question, some of the some of the disciples of Prabhupada asked Prabhupada, no, what is the difference between that, like just accepting Paramatma, or another question is that, no, like we can also depend on the book. Srimad Bhagavatam is also considered as, Srimad Bhagavatam is considered as a devotee, pure devotee. So why can't I just depend on Srimad Bhagavatam as, accept Bhagavatam as spiritual master? So Prabhupada actually what he did is that he just held the hand, no, ear. He hold the ear of the disciple and he twisted it. Like just like, we punish, teacher will punish a child in the school, right, by twisting his ear. So when a disciple commits a mistake, the Bhagavata, the book Bhagavata, or generally, like Bhagavata cannot come and scold you, or no, or correct you, right? You need a personal guru to correct the disciple, to be present, to guide him, etc. Right? From a practical perspective. So that is why it is always important to have a person guru. Okay, as Niveda Mataji mentioned, another important point: why are we hesitating to accept a guru? Because we may give various reasons, saying that, no, like, okay, it may be a fact that, no, there are a lot of bogus gurus, but if you have faith in the Paramatma or Supreme Lord, no, then actually, if you sincerely pray to the Paramatma, do you think that, no, you will get a bogus guru? It is not. If you are a sincere devotee, the Lord will always give you a, sincere devotee guru also. But if you are a person who wants to get cheated, if you are not fully sincere, basically we are hesitating to surrender. We don't want to surrender to anybody. That is a fundamental problem, right? Why do we come to the material world? Actually, because we don't want to surrender to Krishna. And after coming here also, we find so many reasons not to surrender to Krishna. If you say that I will directly surrender to Krishna, how can we verify that you are actually surrendered, right? So that is why the Lord Krishna is always come. Krishna has come in the form of a guru, right? The guru is actually non-different from Krishna, right? The Krishna actually is sending you a spiritual master who is a person, who is a self-realized person, who is living, in flesh and blood, right? They call like that, no, as a person, right? So he is a representation of the Krishna, spiritual master is a representative of Krishna. So why it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, tad vidhi pranipadena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshayandi jnanam naninam tattvadarshina, right? Tad vidhi pranipadena pariprash. So unless and until there is surrender to the spiritual master, right, and once renders menial service to the guru, right, he cannot become purified. See, we have to give up our egoistic mentality. We have to give up our this thing. So the surrender actually is practiced. Surrender to Krishna is practiced by surrender to spiritual master. Unless and until we surrender to spiritual master, we cannot surrender to Krishna, right? So practically, we have to, we have to change our consciousness. Unless and until you render service to a guru, how can you practice actually surrender? In the mind, we cannot. If you say I'll surrender in the mind, those are all kind of bogus, kind of, because you don't want to surrender. Mind is always a cheater. We can never trust the mind. Mind will always give you so many reasons not to surrender. Not to surrender. It always try to escape. So we understand, the conclusion is that it is essential that we need to have a spiritual master, because the spiritual master, the process of diksha, right, initiation is very, very important. That is why, in all the Vedic culture there is a process of initiation, like, so the initiation process is actually, for example, in brahmanas actually, and kshatriyas, also Vaishyas, right? They have this Upanayana ceremony, right? Where actually a sacred thread is given by a spiritual master. So this is the process. So in the process of initiation, so it is mentioned Janmana Jayade Shudra Samskarat Bhaved Dvija. So when somebody is born, everybody is a Shudra. Shudra means, no, he doesn't have any spiritual knowledge, right? Only by samskara he becomes a Brahmana. So this process of initiation is the process by which actually the connection between the Lord and the living entity is established. And who can do the connection? The connection can only be established by another self-realized person, right? The spiritual master is establishing the connection between the disciple and Krishna by the process of initiation. So this process is known as diksha, right? Which actually we have, in our sampradaya also we have diksha. Right? All authorized sampradaya there is a diksha. So when the disciple is initiated, then the real connection is, this connection is established between the Krishna and, so Krishna, it is mentioned that, and unless and until one is initiated, Krishna, will not actually accept that person, as his devotee. I can give you the quotation right now. I don't have it at hand actually. Okay, so it is mentioned actually. So in this particular shloka also we can see, which I have shared in Padma Purana, it is mentioned, Sambradaya vina he mandras tu nishpala mata adakkalau bhavishyadi chatvara Sampradaya. Basically, it is mentioning that, no, it is mentioning that Sampradaya vina. So if you get a, so this the process of, as part of the Diksha process, we also get a mantra, right? A Diksha mantra is given to the disciple. So unless and until you accept the mantra by a proper Diksha initiation, that mantra will not have any effect, is what is mentioned. And it is also mentioning that there are four authorized Sampradaya in Kali Yuga, which actually we have discussed many times, right? There is Sri Sampradaya, the Madhava, the Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya, then Rudra Sampradaya, and the Sampradaya which is coming from the four Kumaras, Nimbarkacharya, right? These are the four Sampradayas. So, so unless and until one is initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, right? Actually, the mantra will not have any effect. Then no. So this is the point actually, right? Which we are trying to discuss now. Is it clear, Prabhu? Uh,
Yeah, Prabhuji. The takeaway point from this is just, I mean, I, uh, I would say that just, that's what. Of course, the the guru is required. It is very important, but just do the devotional service, pure devotional service from our end as devotee, and leave as rest other things to the God. He will take care of everything. Yogakshemam, like
yes.
that. Yeah.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yogakshema
So
Vahamte.
basically, correct. See, we have to just follow the process. And how to find a bona fide spiritual master, there is no problem actually. That we can see as we progress, we will come to know. See, all that is required is that we have faith in the Supreme Lord. We think that the Lord is there. We are praying. You can pray to the Supreme Lord Krishna sincerely that, no, I want a sincere. Please send me a sincere spiritual master. Then naturally we'll get it. And we have the different yardsticks of understanding. We already discussed, right? How can we understand, identify a pure devotee of the Lord, a bona fide spiritual master? That also we discussed. So what are the symptoms? Everything is explained, right? Prabhupada, there are many books also available in scriptures by which actually, there is a book called Acharya,
Mm-hmm.
disciple, and what is it? I forgot actually about. No, there's a book actually, Guru and Disciple, something like that. So that book actually talks about more information. So now we are actually in the Krishna Sadhak stage of Bhakti Viksha, right? Now after some time, now we will go to Prabhupada Ashraya. Then there is actually something called Guru Ashraya. Then there is Diksha. All these lessons will come. So when we read those sessions, no, we'll discuss more about these topics. No, who is how do we identify a bona fide spiritual master? What are the qualities? All those things actually we'll discuss. What does it mean to take initiation? So right now, no, we are not completely there actually, but since
Mm-hmm.
it is an important point, question actually we are discussing. So accepting Prabhupada actually as a spiritual master, that system is called as the Ritvik system. Okay, I don't know if some of you know about it or not. So we have this. There is actually the ISKCON had two factions. No, there was a split some years back. One group of people actually they moved away from ISKCON, saying that no, we will only accept Prabhupada as the guru, and we will not accept any other people. So that they are an offshoot actually. They are not bona fide. They are outside the sampradaya actually. No, so any sampradaya if you take, no, like if you take Madhava sampradaya, if you take Ramanuja sampradaya, always there will be problems actually, because it's a material world. Everywhere there will be problem. When, especially when there is an organization, when there is all this management stuff, no, there will be problem. But we should not get bewildered or carried away with all those things. We have to focus on what is given in the scriptures. We understand who is Krishna, what is the process of devotional service, etc., etc., right? And we have to consult senior devotees when we are in doubt. So the just thinking, telling that no, Prabhupada is the only spiritual master, and I will not accept anybody is actually kind of a way of escaping to surrendering, because they don't want to surrender to anybody, and Prabhupada is not physically present now, right? So how can Prabhupada correct you if you know, like if you are doing wrong thing, doing mistake? So Prabhupada also in many of his lectures, many of his conversations, always he mentioned that my disciples will be the future disciple. And if you look any other parampara, that is the process. No, it is not that no, like one Guru Ramanujacharya is there. and after that everybody becomes disciple. No, there is always the guru. There are future gurus which are coming in that parampara, right? So the disciple succession always works like that. There will be always one guru, and then his disciples become the next guru, because always a physical guru is necessary to instruct, to correct the disciple, right? So that is always
Mm-hmm.
very important. Actually, we cannot say that somebody is not there, he is my guru, and I'll do whatever I like. That is not the right process, Prabhu. So we have
Mm-hmm.
to. So as per the understanding, we have to accept a bona fide spiritual master who is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And we have so many pure devotees available in ISKCON, right? Who are actually disciples of Prabhupada. So we can choose some of them. We can hear their lectures. We can understand their position, and then we should accept one of them as our spiritual master. That is the right process.
Yeah, Prabhuji. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I got the answer correct.
We will discuss more actually, Prabhu. So it's an important topic. So everybody will have difficulty in the beginning, like because even I also went through that, because I
Mm-hmm.
was not sure, like because everywhere else we find bogus people, so we may think we are very reluctant. Actually, we're always scared, afraid of getting cheated, whether I'll get cheated, whether no, how can I trust, all those things. So gradually we
Mm-hmm.
should what we should do is that we should chant. As of now, our process is chanting the holy names, reading the scriptures, right? So we should read
Mm-hmm.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Keep doing that at the moment. When we come to that stage of Diksha, then actually we'll still there is a lot of time, right? So we should try to hear from devotees, like all these disciples of Prabhupada. Gradually we'll develop the faith. What is required is that chant sincerely as of now. Now we can pray to now as of now till we are coming to that stage. Prabhupada is our spiritual master. He is the preeminent Shiksha Guru. So basically there are two gurus, right? One is known as a Shiksha Guru and one is a Diksha Guru. Shiksha Guru is one who gives us instructions, right? So we can have many Shiksha Gurus. No, so Prabhupada is considered as the Shiksha Guru for all everybody in ISKCON. He's because he is a founder Acharya, right? He is a preeminent Shiksha Guru. But actually, connection with Krishna is happening through Diksha. And for Diksha, there has to be another Guru, right? Diksha Guru. So it can be the same. So you can have no your Diksha Guru is also your Shiksha Guru, but you can have more Shiksha Gurus. But to connect with the Supreme Lord through the parampara, we need a Diksha Guru who will give you initiation, who will give you the initiation mantra, right? So
Mm-hmm.
both are required, like that actually it is. So we'll see that more as we go ahead actually. Okay, for now I think we have to understand that it is very much essential. We cannot just think that okay, I'll only accept Krishna as my guru. For that actually we should be highly qualified. If Krishna is so much merciful, if you are so much elevated and Krishna becomes pleased with us, he can directly deliver us, but that actually doesn't happen normally, right? It's a very very rare possibility. So we cannot just depend on something which actually is very very rare. It is possible, it is not impossible, because Krishna can do anything. But that generally it doesn't happen. According to scriptures and the parampara, the methodology which is given is that we have to accept a bona fide spiritual master and serve him. Very important to serve. Serving the spiritual master is very important, because by the mercy of the spiritual master only we can please Krishna. It is mentioned Esya prasadat bhagavat prasado. By only by only by pleasing the spiritual master, the Lord Krishna will be pleased. Krishna is not accessible to us directly, right? So that is why the Krishna, no, spiritual master is the representative of the Krishna, and we have to please serve the spiritual master. Serving is very important. The service, when we talk about service, everybody will tell devotional service, right? The service actually one very very important aspect of service, devotional service is serving the spiritual master. Doing personal service to him, helping him in preaching mission or whatever, actually in all possible ways. Serving, taking care of him physically, right? Doing service manually, menial service, etc. All these things are included. Okay, I think we are running out of time already. Too much late. I think today we started late, right? We started at 5. Okay, so I think we have covered most of the points. Anybody has any questions on these topics which we discussed? Bharati Mataji, Chitra Mataji, anybody has any questions on the topic of spiritual master? Is everything clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
No doubt.
No doubt.
Prabhuji, you told
Yes.
service to spiritual master. What we should do, Prabhuji?
Yeah. So one most important service is actually preaching. See, for example, for Matajis, there are some limitations. So, for example, if you're Prabhuchis, right, we can actually go and stay with the spiritual master, like and serve him personally. If you read about Srila Prabhupada's past time, there are many disciples who are like playing as a secretary, etc. So Matajis actually, for example, they can serve the spiritual master by, for example, cooking for the spiritual master, like prasadam, cooking for him, assisting him, for example, in DT service. So there are so many services which are available, right? So from a practical perspective, what is very most important actually, what we can practically do is, what is the mission of Srila Prabhupada, or what is the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? What do we understand?
Preaching.
Yes. So preaching is the essence. So the best way we can, as of date, what we can do best is that to preach, like no, to spread the glories, to spread this information to more people. That is one of the most important way we can serve the spiritual master. But once we accept a spiritual master, like let's say we accept a particular, let's say no, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami as a spiritual master, or His Holiness Radhanath Swami as spiritual master, or His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami as spiritual master. So there are so many spiritual masters, right? So if you accept one of the spiritual master, then we can talk, interact with that spiritual master. We can know, and then find out what, how can we help that spiritual master. So sometimes the spiritual master will give you personal instructions. For example, he may tell you, you know, there are different things they are doing, right? Some of them maybe engage in like doing something like cow protection. No, there are various activities. No, like some of them may be doing gurukul, like no, school preaching, like no, creating schools. So they may have, you can help assist the spiritual master in any of these ways, right? Or no, when the spiritual master personally comes, we can help. Like for example, we can serve the spiritual master by cooking prasadam for him, or no, things like that. There are various ways of serving, like that, Mataji. Is it okay, Bharati Mataji?
Yeah, yes,
Okay,
Prabhuji,
Mataji.
it's okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So yeah, then any other questions? Otherwise, we'll do chanting one round. Devotees, any more questions?